Oboe, The Blue Sheep, Mindhorse Episode 12, The Whiteboard in Your AI's Head. Runtime target, 8 to 10 minutes. Concept, context window. Core analogy, a whiteboard that fills up. Have you ever asked an AI a question at the start of a conversation, then a little while later asked it something related, and it forgot what you said earlier? Like, you told it your name was Sam, you spent 10 minutes chatting, and then it goes, "Hello, how can I help you today?" Like you're a total stranger. That's not a glitch. That's not the AI being rude. That's something called a context window. And once you understand what it is, the whole thing makes complete sense. G'day, I'm Oboe, and today we're going to figure out exactly what a context window is, using nothing but a whiteboard and a marker. Here's why this matters. More and more of us are using AI assistants every single day. Homework help, creative writing, coding, answering random questions at 11 o'clock at night. And if you don't know about context windows, you'll keep running into this weird wall where your AI suddenly seems to lose the plot, and you won't know why or what to do about it. But once you know, you can work with it. You can be smarter about how you use AI. And that's a proper skill that'll actually help you. Right. Let's get into it. Imagine a whiteboard, a real one, the kind in your classroom at school. When you start talking to an AI, everything you type and everything the AI replies gets written on this whiteboard. Your messages, the AI's messages, back and forth, every single exchange gets written down. Because here's the thing, every time the AI writes you a reply, it doesn't just remember the conversation in some separate memory bank somewhere. It actually goes back and reads the entire whiteboard from the top every single time. Every single time. That's actually how it stays on topic. That's how it knows what you've already told it. It's rereading the whole board before it writes anything new. Now, here's where the problem starts. The whiteboard is not infinite. It has an edge, and at some point, it starts to get full. When the whiteboard gets completely full, when there's genuinely no more room, something has to give. The AI can't just keep squishing the writing smaller forever. So the oldest stuff gets erased. The stuff right at the beginning of your conversation. The stuff that seemed so important when you wrote it. And now, as far as the AI is concerned, those words never existed. They're gone off the board. It can't read them anymore. So it genuinely does not know your name was Sam. That space on the whiteboard, the total amount of writing it can hold before it starts erasing, that is the context window. Context just means everything that's currently written on the board, everything the AI can see and use right now. Window means there's a frame around it, a limit. Only so much fits inside the frame at once. Okay, so that's the basic idea, but let me give you a few more details that actually make this more interesting. First up, not all whiteboards are the same size. Different AI models have different sized context windows. Some are like that tiny whiteboard in the art room that nobody actually uses, and some are like a huge floor-to-ceiling board that takes up the whole wall. A bigger context window means the AI can hold a much longer conversation before it starts forgetting the early stuff. Now, the size isn't measured in words or sentences. It's measured in something called tokens. You don't need to memorize that word. Just know that a token is roughly like 3 or 4 letters. So a few thousand tokens is a few pages of writing. A few 100,000 tokens is like a whole novel. Some of the newest AI systems have context windows big enough to hold an entire novel. which is actually wild. Second thing, it's not just your typed words that go on the whiteboard. If you paste in a big chunk of code, that goes on the board. If you upload a document for the AI to read, that goes on the board. Images, files, long passages you've copied in, all of it takes up space. So sometimes people wonder why their AI forgets something really quickly. And it's because they pasted in a massive document right at the start, which basically filled up most of the whiteboard straight away. And here's a question you might be wondering. Why don't they just give the AI an infinite whiteboard? Just make it remember everything forever? That's actually a really smart question. And the short answer is, it costs a lot. Not money out of your pocket right now, but in terms of computer power. Reading and processing a longer and longer whiteboard takes more and more computing. It gets slower and more expensive really fast. There's also a separate idea called long-term memory in AI, which is actually a different thing entirely. Some AI systems are starting to have separate memory systems where they can save specific facts between conversations, but that's a different tool from a different toolbox. The context window is just what's on the board right now in this conversation. All right, so knowing all this, what can you actually do about it? Tip 1, put your most important information early, but also think about repeating the really crucial stuff if your conversation is going long. If you're working on a big project and you've told the AI something really important, like your character's name or the rules of the world you're building, it doesn't hurt to remind it again if the conversation is getting long. Tip 2. For really long projects, start fresh conversations and paste in a quick summary of what you've already decided. Instead of one mega conversation that eventually eats its own beginning, break it into chunks. Start a new chat. Write 2 or 3 sentences at the top summing up where you're up to. The AI will have a nice clean whiteboard with all the context it needs. Tip 3. If the AI seems confused or seems to have forgotten something, don't just get frustrated. Repaste the thing it thought it forgot. Remind it. It's not being difficult. Its whiteboard just doesn't have that bit of writing on it anymore. 1. Important info. Remind it if chat is long. Big projects, start fresh with a summary. 3. AI confused. Repaste what it forgot. These aren't workarounds for a broken system. These are just the smart way to use the tool you've got. So let's do a quick lap of what we've covered today. Every time you chat with an AI, the whole conversation gets written on a whiteboard. Every time the AI replies, it reads the whole thing from the top. The whiteboard has a size limit, the context window. When it fills up, the oldest stuff gets erased. Different AI systems have different sized windows, measured in tokens, and bigger is generally better for long tasks. And you can work with this limit rather than just bumping into it by reminding the AI of important stuff, by starting fresh conversations for big projects, and by repasting context when it seems lost. The context window isn't a flaw, it's a design choice. And now you understand it, you know how to work with it. That makes you a smarter AI user than a lot of grown-ups, honestly. And here's a little something to think about until next time. If the context window is the whiteboard, and the AI reads the whole thing every time it replies, what happens to its thinking when the whiteboard is mostly full of old stuff? Does the beginning of a conversation shape the end of it more than you'd think? Have a chew on that. I'll see you next episode. I'm Oboe. Stay curious. End card. 15 seconds. Oboe logo, subscribe prompt, thumbnail links to previous episodes. Episode end. Total estimated runtime, approx. 9 minutes at natural conversational pace,